Just to pick up on what I was talking about in my last video about the kind of, I guess, double standards that you see in literature when it comes to the outsider, the character that we call the outsider, right? The role of the outsider, the ways that we tend to revere some kinds of outsiders instinctively, at least in America, and not necessarily hate others, but other kinds, but not necessarily have as much fascination with them. Like for example, if the outsider is an outcast from society because he doesn't believe in anything, and he's rejecting any kind of moral system, that sort of taboo we tend to be more fascinated with, and we tend to revere that more than an outsider who's a hero who's actually fighting, like a traditionally heroic character who's fighting for a certain cause. Right, and we've seen many examples of that, but there's a little more that I want to say on that, because I think particularly in American culture, like there's the lines between often the minority and the majority tend to get blurred and confused way too much because of these sorts of things. And like I was watching a video on Edgar Allan Poe the other day. It was Matthew Arrett was talking about Edgar Allan Poe's life, and a man named Griswold, this kind of shady character, was framing him like he was actually the one who was responsible for framing Edgar Allan Poe as this lunatic, this debauched kind of creepy idiot, or this creepy genius, I should say, but who's an alcoholic and irresponsible, and who, like, basically dropped out, didn't attend school. None of this stuff was actually true, according to Matthew Arrett. That Edgar Allan Poe had an extensive education, and he attended school. He was a very good student. That's another thing. Griswold had said that he was a bad student, but this shows you something that's a little bit, I guess, on the kind of like on the lines of what I was talking about, because the weird thing, the thing that doesn't really make any sense, is that we tend to like the idea of, for example, the irresponsible artist who is too, doesn't want to attend school, doesn't really want to be part of the establishment, really, and feels like he's kind of too good for it. And that's indeed, but this kind of false representation of the stereotype is indeed what leads to the naivete, the weak-mindedness of that particular individual. On the other hand, though, we're also dumbing down the educational system. So what is there to reject if indeed the educational system is a mimicry or simply mirrors what they, what they're trying to do with certain individuals, like, or trying to paint people who were not educated, who are irresponsible, as being rebellious, then you don't even know where, you don't know, there's no way to define what the minority or what the majority is anymore. Like, who is fighting who? You don't even know where the fight is. It's so convoluted, and even for me, it's difficult for me to explain, as you see I'm struggling, because I think they intentionally will make things convoluted like that so that people won't see where the real fight is. And that's a kind of a defense mechanism, a way so that people don't engage in what's actually valuable, what's actually important. And of course, they can discredit everything that Edgar Allan Poe had done.